video log of sailing trip from Fort Lauderdale to Rock Hall, Maryland with Captain Dave and Captain Don. It's our first day, Wednesday, April the 22nd. We left Fort Lauderdale this morning around 9 o'clock by the time we made the outer channel. We have been in the Gulf Stream for the last 6-7 hours, and we're doing about 9.5 knots. Our average for the day is probably around 8.5 knots. And so we're up here past West Palm Beach, probably about 30 miles past West Palm. And so I was going to do a little video tour for today. Let me introduce you to the crew. Here we have the owner and captain of the boat. This is Dave Fooks.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dave.
Well, I've got a great crew. And we're out in the Atlantic right now on the most beautiful day you could imagine. And got a great crew, got a great boat, and life is good.
All right. And we have our fellow crew. This is Don
Hageman.
Hageman. Okay, Don. I never did get your last name. And you're from?
I'm from upstate New York, and originally from New York City, but upstate New York. Former educator, retired for a bunch of years, and been sailing ever since I left work. And I've done this trip a bunch of times, and always love it out here. It's just a very peaceful place most of the time.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
This is Dave's boat, Sassy Dancer. It's a 41-foot Bristol, and it sails very nice, very forgiving.
Yeah, we like forgiving boats.
And we're out in the Atlantic. As you can see, we have sunset in here about another hour and a half or so. And then we have our cockpit back here, and this is a center console type boat with a big area on the back there for sitting and enjoying the view. Let me see if I can do this without falling over.
That's called the redneck chair, and Hank likes it a lot.
Yeah. This is my chair I love the best. I can sit here. I can sit right here. And there's my barbecue. I got my ribs right there. I got my drinks I put over here. It's just wonderful. Again, it's been a great day today. Weather's been very nice, and the conditions are good. We're making good progress. So that's the end of day one's video log.
Are you using the GoPro?
Now I'm just using my video recorder. Sun setting in the west. We're out in the Atlantic, about 30 miles offshore. Hello, it's me again. It's Thursday, the 23rd of April, 2015. We're on our second day of our trip from Fort Lauderdale to Rock Hall, Maryland, which is a total of about 1,030 miles of distance to sail. We put on about 147 miles between yesterday when we left at 9 till this morning about 8 o'clock. We refueled at the Cape Canaveral site. There was a marina there, and so we were able to go there. We That's where all the launches go, of course. SpaceX now. We got out of there about 8 o'clock this morning, and we've been sailing ever since. We're up about another 70 miles, 60 miles. I'm sorry, no, we're about 40 miles north now. We're averaging around 6 knots, which is about 7 miles an hour. Had a little bit of a rainstorm earlier. Got some nice winds off that. Today again the winds are light out of the northeast. So we're not making, I mean, we have to run the motor to make any really good progress. But it's a nice breeze. As you can see, the flags flapping in the background there. We're in the Gulf Stream, which gives us an extra mile per hour. When you get in the Gulf Stream, you'll notice that the water is just an extra deep blue. I'll show you here in a second. I don't know if you can tell that from that or not, but you can tell when you go from the shallower waters to the Gulf Stream waters, it just turns a really pretty, almost kind of a purplish tint to it. But it's really nice and clear. Anyway, we're having a good day today. Got my shower and cleaned up, feel better. And Dave is at the helm today. He's back there taking care of business. So we're just heading north, and here's north. All you can see for miles and miles and miles is just ocean. We're about 20 some miles from any shore, so we can't see any buildings or any landscape whatsoever. It's just all water, but it's pretty, so we're enjoying it. Hope you're getting my updates as to my locations, and hope everything's going good at home, and we'll talk at you later. This is after the storm, drying everything out. A new shirt just for you guys. We went through a big old rainstorm here while we were being towed into the marina, and the reason we were being towed in is because our cooling pump on the engine went out on us last night. So we ended up sailing all the way back to Savannah, which was about 60 some miles overnight, and then being towed in to the marina here. It's a Hinckley marina over there, and they have a nice Hinckley powerboat here. And so I'll show you what the boat looks like after we clean it up. But now we just got all our wet stuff hanging loose to dry. Another day in paradise. Oh, hey folks, how you doing? I bet you wonder what happened to me. It's been a couple days here. We're in Savannah, Georgia. We've been here since Saturday morning. It is now Monday afternoon, and we will not be out of here till Tuesday afternoon if everything goes well. Kind of an update from the last couple days. Friday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, we were about 100 miles off the coast, going through the Gulf Stream, heading north. Doing okay. Not much wind. And then about between 3 and 5, the wind kicked up to about 25-30 knots. Waves were 6 to 8 foot, and we were plowing and bouncing to them. It was kind of rough. And they kept on, and they kept on, and they kept on. They wouldn't let up. So after about 2 hours of trying to beat into the waves and the wind, we decided to run with them. So they were running from northeast, so we ended up going southwest, which is kind of backtracking quite a bit, or at least a good amount. So then we got closer to shore. The winds died a little bit, the waves died quite a bit as well, and so then we said let's turn back north and head towards Savannah. We'll get fuel here and then take off and next morning. Well, shortly after we turn north, maybe within an hour or 2 or 3, the engine cooling pump went out, and so we had no extra horsepower we were doing motor sailing, or actually we were just doing motoring because the winds were kind of on our side, or on the nose a bit, excuse me. So we said, well, let's just go ahead and sail up to Savannah. It was about 60-some miles, and we sailed overnight up here to Savannah. We got here Saturday morning about 8 o'clock. We called Boat USA. They took about an hour and a half to come out there and hook up to us. Another hour and a half to 2 hours to tow us in. The marina we're at is like about 11 miles inland. Everything between Savannah and Outer Banks, Tybee Island is all marshland, so there's only a couple rivers that come in and out. So we're up one of these rivers, the marina, getting the boat repaired. They were closed for the weekend, so we sat here Saturday and Sunday, and they came this morning, looked at the motor, says, yep, it's the cooling pump. They ordered it. Supposedly it's going to be here tomorrow morning, 10-ish, and then they'll put it in. Hopefully by 1 or 2 they'll have that done. Then we got about 2 to 3 hour run to stop and get some fuel, and then head out to the Atlantic Ocean again. And we're going to kind of keep close to the coast at this point and head up to Charleston. From there up to Georgetown, South Carolina, and then from there up to Beaufort, North Carolina. We will then tuck in Beaufort, North Carolina, and go up the ICW waterway, and going up through Pimlico Sound, where we've sailed before in Pimlico Sound up to the Oriental area. Then we'll go north all the way up to Norfolk, Virginia, and then go across up into the Chesapeake Bay, and that'll take another day to get up through that. And so it's going to take us about 6 days to get to Rock Hall, Maryland, which is our destination. So that's assuming that the weather stays decent and we don't have any more breakages of any kind. So that's the update. So we've been relaxing. It was kind of rough out there for Friday nights, Saturday morning. Those 12 hours in those rough waters, you didn't feel like eating, that's for sure. Kind of queasy all the time. Couldn't sleep, couldn't go down below because it was rocking and rolling too much. And we just stayed up in the cockpit area and took little cat naps between taking turns at the helm. At the helm, you really don't have to do a whole lot. Has autopilot, has radar, has AIS, so you can kind of just keep a look on the electronics and see that there's nothing coming at you or in your way, and just kind of keep a watch on stuff, so you don't have to steer the helm at that point. So anyway, that's an update. We'll hopefully give you a better one tomorrow. Take care. Well, we got the motor fixed, and now we are on our way, leaving Savannah. We got about an hour and a half drive before we get to the ocean, and we're heading from here up to Charleston. It's about 80 miles, and that'll take us about 10 to 12 hours. So we'll get there about, say, about 2 o'clock in the morning. And from there we head up to Beaufort, North Carolina. And that'll take us another a day and a half at the most. So we should be hopefully doing pretty good. The winds are out of the east, so it's in our favor today. So we're hoping for better. And it's nice out today. Give you a look. Not much to see there. A lot of marshes. I'll look at a house along the banks here. See how the poor people live. Not too shabby, huh? Anyway, that's it for this morning. We'll check back with you later this afternoon. Have a good one. Well, here's an update. As you can tell by the background, I'm at home at this point. We sailed out into the Atlantic from Savannah, and once we get out there, the winds are supposed to be from the east. They end up being from the northeast on our nose again, so we made progress a little bit slow, and so we end up looking at the weather report. It's going to be more out of the northeast at higher speeds, so we decided to go into the intercoastal waterway. That was entered around Hilton Head area. We then motored up and anchored for the night, and then the next morning we left there and started making our way up to Charleston. That evening I got a call from my wife and found out that her dad was in hospice and wasn't expected to live another day or two. So Dave and Don accepted the responsibility to make the rest of the trip on their own, and they let me get off in Charleston, South Carolina, which then I was able to get a rent-a-car and head back to support my wife in the last hours of her father's life. So I want to thank Dave and Don for both taking that responsibility on. I hated to jump ship, but I really needed to be here for my wife, and he did pass a day later. So thank you, Don and Dave, again for a nice trip. I did follow Dave's progress up the intercoastal waterway all the way up to Chesapeake Bay, and it looks like he made it back home, Rock Hall, Maryland, on like Wednesday the 8th, is it? So again, or no, excuse me, that would be the 6th. So again, end of this video, and thanks Dave for a pleasant trip. The weather didn't help us a lot. The breakdown delayed us a bit, but we pulled through as a team, and we had a good sail. And we'll check with you again sometime in the future.